everybody. Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. That's right, June 10th, 2020. Wow, I can't believe it. It is Wednesday. All right, so we are going to read the next 3 chapters in Lions at Lunchtime. And I have a riddle for you, and I have a secret message for you. But before we start those, let's talk about what I want you to listen for in the story today. So what I want you to talk to your family about after you hear the 3 chapters is, who is higher than the hyena on the food chain? And was Annie still dirty when they were scaring the hyenas? How do we know? What part of the story told us? And then I want you to also share the news, and I want you to think about an octopus and its tentacles, its arms. And I want you to think about, would you rather, if you had to choose to have tentacles as your arms or tentacles as your legs, which one would you rather have and why? All right? So go ahead and make sure that you have your dry erase surface, because we have a riddle today. All right, the riddle today is, what is a tornado's favorite game to play? Listen again. What is a tornado's favorite game to play? Say it with me. What is a tornado's favorite game to play? Oh, I'm hearing lots of word patterns in there. Let's slide it together. Ready? What is a tornado's favorite game to play? Dot. All right, go ahead. I'm going to get my line started. You get your line started. What is a tornado's favorite? Okay, you ready? I'm ready to check my lines with you. Here we go. What is a tornado's favorite game to play? Dot. All right, so your job right now, you know what your job is. Pause that video, get your writing done, and these are the things I want you to check for. And remember, I want you to have your family snap a picture and send it to me so I can see all the hard work that you're doing. Okay, things I want you to look for. The memory bank word what, memory bank word is, memory bank word memory bank word to. So these are your memory bank words that I want you to make sure that you have spelled correctly when you're finished. All right? And then I want you to make sure you have the word patterns. Alright, so the word patterns here are aim and a. Aim like flame and a like hay. Alright, so make sure you have those when you're finished, and then check back in and we'll do the the secret message together. Alright, I'm going to get my board ready for secret message. You go ahead and stop the video, pause the video, and when you're finished, have a grown-up check before you move on to your secret message. All right, today's secret message is from me. Oh, this is a good one. divided mark, an exclamation mark. Let's do it together. Ready? Nice job. All right, here's the message today. Take a good look at it. Friends who want to pause it and have it up here so they can read it, go ahead and do that now. Or else I'm going to get ready to highlight our memory bank words and our word patterns. Good. All right, so I see some other words that I recognize that might not be a memory bank, or it might not be a word pattern either. But I see the memory bank word here. I see a memory bank word here, here, here. All right, memory bank words. You know these two are the same. The. Oh, do you hear the cardinal out there? Then I have the word, memory bank word to. Good. And this one is a memory bank word, but this one actually doesn't break the rules. So this is one we can sound out. We haven't had too much practice with this one. Let's try it together. As, has. What's the word? Has. Good. All right. And now let's use a little purple. And I'm going to put some boxes around our word patterns. All right, I see the E pattern, I see the pattern, and I see the ow pattern. Did you see those three? I saw E, and ow. Here we go. E, ow. Nice job. All right, so this might be a name that you recognize. What do you think it is? That's right, Annie. Good, let's try it together. Annie, and there's that memory bank word, has. Annie has to, sound by sound, help. Put it together. Help the, sound by sound. Ready? W, I, l, will, d, b. Oh my goodness, I think you know. Wildebeest, yes, wildebeest. Let's go back to the beginning. Annie has to help the wildebeest. Let's do sound by sound. Os. Put it together. Cross. Good. Cross the word pattern sound by sound. River. Put it together. River. Nice. Go back to the beginning. Annie has to help the wildebeest cross the river. Word pattern ow. Put it together. Ow. Now. Nice job. Is that what was happening on Monday? Annie was headed to help those wildebeests jump. Remember, she was yelling at them. All right, so let's put our work away. Get your whole body listening on, and I am going to read the next 3 chapters. So you're going to be hanging tight for a little bit, okay? Chapter 4 is called Mud Bath. Mud Bath. Jack looked over the edge of the riverbank. Annie had fallen into a pool of mud near the water. The thick black mud was all the way up to her chest. I slipped, she said. It feels like quicksand. Jack threw down his backpack and got onto his knees. Be careful, said Annie. I don't want you to slip too. Jack pointed to a tangle of old tree roots sticking out of the bank. Grab those, he told her. Annie reached for the roots. They're too far, she said, breathing hard. I'm sinking. The mud was sinking. The mud was all the way up to her neck. Hold on! Jack looked around wildly. He saw a fallen tree branch near the bank. He raced over and picked it up and carried it back to Annie. Only her head and arms stuck out of the mud now. Jack held out a branch and Annie grabbed onto it. Hold on tight, Jack told her. I'll drag you over to the roots. He started pulling on the branch. I'm still sinking, Annie cried. The mud was all the way up to her chin. "Come on," said Jack, "you can do it. I know you can. Try, try." Just then, Jack heard a splash. He looked up. On the other side of the wild river, a wildebeest had jumped into the water. Another jumped, and then another. They were headed right towards Jack and Annie. "Hold on tight," said Jack, and he pulled the stick again. Annie moved a tiny little bit. "Hold tight!" "Hey, Jack, on the moon I felt like I only weighed 10 pounds, said Annie. "And this mud makes me feel like I weigh a ton." "Concentrate, Annie," said Jack, trying not to slip down the bank himself. "I'm trying," said Annie. The lead wildebeests were halfway across the river, swimming towards them. Many more wildebeests were jumping into the water. "It's now or never," said Jack. He took a deep breath and pulled really hard. Just then, a shadow passed over them. Jack looked up. "Oh no," he said. A huge vulture was circling overhead, and you learned about vultures, right? Ugh. Vultures are nature's garbage can. They get all those pieces that other animals don't want to eat. "If you think you're near the end, then he'll come and get you. So don't," said Jack. "Oh, get out of here," said Annie. "I'm fine. I'm fine." In a burst of fury, she let go of the branch. She lunged towards the roots and grabbed on. "Yes!" cried Jack. "Pull! Pull!" Slowly, Annie pulled herself out. She was covered with black mud from head to toe. Jack helped her onto the bank, getting mud all over himself. "See?" Annie shook her fist at the vulture. "I'm fine. Now beat it." But the giant ugly bird still circled around them. "Come on, let's get away from him," said Jack. He pushed his glasses into place. "Rats!" he said. Now his glasses were muddied too. He tried to clean his hands in the grass. "Oh no," shouted Annie. Jack turned towards her. "The wildebeests are going to get stuck in the mud hole," she cried. She waved her arms at the wildebeest, struggling to swim across the river. "Don't come over here," shouted Annie. "Not here." But the frantic swimmers kept coming. Chapter 5 is called "Ha Ha!" "No, no," shouted Annie. She raced down the bank until she reached the sandy, clear spot. "Over here," she called to the wildebeests. They followed her with their wild eyes. Jack watched in disbelief as the swimmers changed their course. Slowly, all the wildebeests swam to where Annie was standing. She waved towards them like a traffic person. Jack grabbed his backpack. "Annie," he cried, "let's go before we get trampled." "Keep it up," she shouted to the wildebeest as she took off after Jack. They ran farther up the river away from the incoming wildebeests. Finally, they had stopped to catch their breath. They looked back. Everything seemed fine. The wildebeests were scrambling safely over the riverbank. Soon they would graze on the grass prepared by the zebras. Remember what Jack read and you learned about last week? "Good work," Jack said to Annie. "Thanks," she said. "Okay, now for the riddle." "No, first we have to get clean," said Jack. "You look like you're wearing a mud suit." High-pitched laughter rang through the air. It sounded very haunting and mean. Jack and Annie turned around. They saw 2 spotted brown animals standing in the tall grass. The creatures had bodies like dogs, but with sloping backs. When something slopes, it's like, think of a ski slope or the slope of a mountain. They started laughing again. "Ha ha!" said Annie. "You don't look so great yourself." "What are they?" asked Jack. He took out the book and tried not to get mud all over it as he looked at the picture. When he found it, he read out loud. "On the African plains, the hyena is the ruling predator, only after the lion. It makes a sound similar to a high-pitched human laugh." So when something's high-pitched, it sounds really high. What's predator mean? Asked Annie. You would know how to explain that answer, right? It means it catches things to eat, said Jack. Oh, said Annie. Yuck. The two hyenas laughed again, and they moved closer to Jack and Annie. Quietly, Jack kept reading in the book. The hyena has a reputation, or it's known for, being a thief and a coward. So when you remember, if you're a thief, you take things that aren't yours. And if you're a coward, that means that you aren't brave. Let's see if they're cowards, whispered Annie. Let's try to scare them. The hyenas laughed and moved a little bit closer to Jack and Annie. How are we going to do that? Asked Jack. Act like a monster, said Annie. Quick, right now. Jack and Annie made terrible monster faces. They put their hands out and rushed toward the hyenas. Arr, they shouted. The hyenas got scared and scurried off. They really are scaredy cats, Annie shouted after them. Come on, said Jack. Annie and Jack took off in the other direction. They ran around the bend in the river. Jack heard a hyena laughing again, but it sounded far away this time. Good, he said. I think they're gone. Hey, maybe we can wash up over there, said Annie. She pointed to the edge of the forest. There was a small pond surrounded by tall grass. Zebras were drinking the water. Yeah, said Jack. If it's safe enough for them to drink. The zebras ignored them as they walked towards the pond. When they reached the edge of the water,